Hello, welcome back. Yeah, it's been I don't know, 2 months? A month, damn. It's been a month. Yeah, I'm trying to have a schedule. It's probably not going to happen, let's all be honest. But I'm trying, and that's the most important, I think. Yeah, it's most important. Anyways, I'm going to be reading Canary, chapter 10. Canary takes flight. Midori had 2 new notebooks. One, he'd mentioned before, titled Quirk Analysis, was just that, analysis on his quirk. He'd discovered a lot of new things ever since he'd started officially practicing after school hours. Although Midoriya had yet to speak to the elusive Principal Nezu, he had been permitted to use that sports hall for himself for 1 hour after school whenever he could, meaning Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because his dad didn't call until a little later on a Friday evening anyway. President Mike oversaw a few of them. He felt more than a little nervous, singing in front of people. That was probably why the hero started timing his arrival so that he could only appear when Midoriya was still mid-song. It felt a little less awkward then. Whilst most of that notebook involved information on what particular song could do, the most important pages at the moment were those detailing the most specific of his ability, or, more accurately, his limitations. And he'd made some very interesting discoveries. In the short space of time that he had his quirk, he put down to putting so much energy into researching other quirks than when it came to his own. It was a piece of cake. Quirk name: songbird, living song, music, something. By singing a song, an ability is granted for the user to manipulate to their will whilst the song continues. The more practice put into a particular song, the longer effects last after the song has finished. The stronger it is, and the shorter the cooldown effect is between uses. Cooldown. If an ability is used and the song is then sang again immediately after, the quirk will not activate. The cooldown period starts as soon as the power turns off, whether that be because the song was interrupted or stopped partway through, or because the song came to an end. A new song has a cooldown length of roughly 72 hours, 3 days, which decrease slowly as the song is practiced. But there will always be some kind of cooldown. For example, the song Wings, which I have used on numerous occasions, still has a limit exceeding 24 hours. And that time span is decreasing at a much slower rate than how it began. Abilities. Abilities vary from song to song, depending on how the user interprets the song themselves. Some may think a song has a different meaning, but it relies solely on the user's opinion. One ability can be used per song. Mashups seem to have no effect as several songs are used at once. As soon as one song is stopped, its power stops working. Its only benefit is being able to make transition quickly from one ability to another at a higher power level than just starting a new song again. The strength of an ability increases as the song progresses, following how the music swells. It's at its strongest near the end of the song and in the chorus. I can use an ability if I skip straight to the chorus, but it will be weaker at the same cooldown period applies. Some songs grant the same ability, but at slightly different power levels and have varied applications. Other songs seem to give no power at all, especially if they're super short or have few lyrics. Some just don't give powers for some reason. If I don't feel a connection to the music or dislike it in any way or shape or form, my quirk won't activate it. If I forget a lyrics or do something wrong, that counts as interrupting the flow of the music and the power shuts off. The cooldown period beginning. Lingering effects. If a song ends uninterrupted or I purposely stop it at a suitable point, Like when the chorus finishes, the ability the song grants can last even whilst not singing. Lingering effects cut off if I try to start using another song. The power lasts longer the more I practice a particular song. Affecting other people. My quirk currently has 3 directions from which it can be easily applied. Some songs only work on me, giving me control. For example, songs with fire abilities. Only I can control the fire. Some songs affect anyone the sound reaches, excluding myself, for example, sleeping songs. It works as long as the sound reaches them, so plugging ears doesn't help. Some songs affect anyone, including myself, such as strength-enhancing abilities. I believe I will have more control over this with more practice. For example, I might be able to focus a power onto only one person whilst others are listening. This has only worked once before, where I was able to make a song which I could have affected anyone but me. Give the ability to only myself. Granted, it wasn't very useful and I fell asleep, but that doesn't matter. My quirk doesn't work through recordings or amplifiers. If I use a microphone, anyone who's close to me is still affected, but people who are far away enough so they can only hear because of the amplifier are not affected. If you use too many songs in a short time span, you will be fatigued. It seemed confusing at first. Well, there's rather a lot of information on it written down here, but once you read it through, it became clear that much of the information was simply repeated in several different scenarios. And in actual fact, there was a certain simplicity to Midoriya's quirk, but perhaps that was something only he could see. It was his power after all. He still felt giddy just thinking about that. But Midoriya had 2 notebooks. We were just going to ignore the other 13 hero analysis notebooks and just focus on these two. The other notebook he had dubbed as his panic book. Why? Well, that would be because he turned to it when he panicked. Another reason would be because everything he did, now revolving Canary, turned into a panic. The third and final reason was that it was Azura called it when she saw him jotting stuff down in it as he sat nervously in the waiting room before his second show. On the very first page of the notebook, he had written down a to-do list. It was rather high-aiming, but he hadn't planned on anyone ever seeing the inside of his notebook. So that fact didn't apply. 1. Practice and analyze your quirk until you know it as much as anyone who might have their quirk for 10 years would. EA, like an ordinary person. Gain your confidence on the radio until you are able to talk without hesitation on air. Convert that confidence into real life so talking to ordinary people in reality isn't a challenge. 4. Take that confidence a step further so you can happily sing without any anxiety issues. 5. Tell Shinso. 6. Take part in the sports festival. 7. Make a good enough impression to allow you to be offered a place in the hero course. 8. Transfer to the hero course. Yes, number 5 was rather important. He also might have considered moving that number up the list, something he had not predicted, although probably should have, was how popular the character of Canary would really end up being. "Hey, Canary!" Azura yelled. Midoriya looked up from his notebook. He was perched on an armchair nestled into the first corner of the room. If he was going to be staying here, then that armchair would be his, no questions asked. "President Mike's just putting on a song. You're on in 3 minutes and counting. Get your feathers in there!" She finished, talking rather loudly, because her headphones were still over her head as she bobbed side to side to whatever tune she was drifting across the radio. Midoriya took a deep breath, something he often found himself doing before big events, and stood up, leaving his things in a pile surrounding his armchair. It was already starting to resemble a bird's nest, and Canary only had claimed this space less than half an hour ago. President Mike did a celebratory spin in his chair when Midoriya entered the room. He was in his hero costume this time, most likely because he had to wear it at UA and hadn't taken it off yet. Midoriya still wasn't too sure how to handle himself in the studio. How much noise he was supposed to be making, where he could go, what he could touch without ruining the entire show. This was why he was quiet as he could be, almost tiptoeing across the room towards the same chair he chose last time. He could never be too careful. How are you feeling, my little listener? Wait, no, you're not really a little listener anymore, are you? Let's make that my little co-host until I can find a better alteration, huh? The hero laughed. I am fine, Midoriya stammered as he sat down. You don't sound fine, President Mike retorted. He was pointing at him, his finger so close to Midoriya's nose despite the width of the table that it was almost touching it. You sound panicked again. Where's the happy canary we left off with last time, huh? Midoriya gave him a meek smile. Well, sometimes I hear people talking about me and I know all those people are going to be listening today, and I'm really worried that maybe they won't like me anymore, and this just will end up in one big disaster. I'm going to mess it up, and... Whoa! President Mike interrupted. You're going to give yourself a panic attack, and no one wants that. Midoriya's hands were shaking as he fiddled with the headphones. They were laid out before him. He wasn't sure if he was more nervous the second time around as he had been the first. But either way, he was feeling a certain far from good. You're not going to mess up, President Mike continued. He has adopted his calmer voice, the one he used when addressing panicked civilians, and more often than not, Midoriya. He had come to recognize it well now. People like you for being you, so you don't need to worry about messing it up, because there's nothing to mess up. We're going to do exactly what we did last time, so there's no need to fear, all right? The only difference is we've actually got some questions lined up and a bit more of a plan. Just follow my lead, and I promise you'll do absolutely great. Midoriya let a small smile creep back over his face. You know, you've got a stellar way to deal with anxiety for those who have a bit of a problem with it, the hero told him. Midoriya blinked up at him. He took that as an expression of interest. Turn your fear into excitement, he said dramatically. Think about all these negative emotions that you're feeling and say, hey, you know what? This doesn't have to be negative. Say, I'm not shaking because I'm nervous. It's because I'm excited. I'm excited to begin, to get this other with whatever floats your boat. He frowned at his teacher. Well, like his mother had said, here in the radio studio, he wasn't Izuku. He was Canary. Izuku may be nervous, but Canary would be excited. Perhaps separating the two wasn't the best idea, but for now, it was a way forward. And Midoriya was running rather thin on those. Midoriya's smile grew that little wider. Okay. President Mike clapped his hands. There he is. There's Canary. There's the Canary I was waiting for. Just keep being you and roll with it. Put your headphones on, Songbird. Listen to the end of the song with me, and then we can start. President Mike's radio show. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1830 to 1930. Canary Zaru. President Mike. Yeah! A brief moment of silence follows. President Mike. Can I get a yeah from Canary? Canary. Yay? President Mike. This is becoming routine, and you know what? We're going to stick with it anyway. A big fat welcome to a new official segment of Put Your Hands Up Radio. We've talked about it earlier, but we are anyway. Welcome to Canary's Hour. Canary. Wait, really? President Mike. Yeah. It's named after me? Well, you are the whole reason we're doing it. Thank you? Why are you saying thank you? A faint squeak is heard. Why are you so loud? President Mike's howling laughter can be heard, most likely quietened from its original volume. He's really loud. I've been listening to his radio show for forever. And I don't know why, but I didn't expect him to be so loud in real life. President Mike continues to laugh uncontrollably. Of course, the volumes all changed on your end of the radio, but here I can still hear how loud he is, and I keep reaching up to my ears to cover them with my hands, but their headphones are in the way, and I press them closer to my face, and it gets louder, and it's just a vicious cycle of decibels, really. A moment of silence is endured as President Mike recovers. Are you okay? President Mike sighs loudly. He looks like a little ball of sunshine, but in reality has a cruel side. I feel like we're bringing out the worst of him. But then I remember he's Canary. He'll never change. Canary, tell us a fact! Did you know that the loudest sound ever recorded was the explosion of the volcano Krakatoa in 1883? That was a very quick response. I guess you were thinking about it already? Apparently the sound traveled across the world 4 times and ruptured the eardrums of people standing over 40 miles away. How many decibels does it need to burst eardrums? Shouldn't you know that? Of course I do. But you know everything, so I was just checking if you knew. I don't know everything, like how loud a sound needs to be to burst your eardrums, for instance. Well, looks like we're moving on. Wait, but isn't it a bit of a problem that you don't know how loud you can? We have some questions to get to. But I have a question. You don't need to raise your hand, and if it's about noise, I don't want to hear it. A brief moment of silence follows. Yeah, you lower that hand. Anyway, as I said, we still have plenty of questions from you wonderful listeners from last Thursday and the time in between. So we thought that we could start off with our first official Canary's Hour with a Canary questionnaire. We are? Yes, so if Canary could so kindly turn on his screen. Yes, that one. You will see a list of questions. Are we answering all of these? Probably not. Okay, do I just pick one or... Pick and click. Okay, I'll just click on something random then. Our first question then. So this is from Twitter, or we get most of our questions from social media, where we should set you up an account. Actually, let's do that on air in a minute. That would be great. Oh, okay. But this question is from White Wave, and they say from someone who's bad at people-ing. My new favorite phrase. You sound like a puppy got turned into a human being. Ha! Distant, barely audible squeaks can be heard. He's doing that thing now where he goes really red and curls up in a ball. And there he goes. Yep, he's turned his chair away from me. Right! White Wave's question. Getting to the point. Can you sing? Is your quirk really good with pitch? Well, little listener, that is a hypothesis. However, even though that would be cool, I can't see how it could be useful in a heroics. Oh, pitch control would be really cool, depending on how well you could manipulate it. If you go high enough and are able to direct your voice, you could do things like shatter glass and knock people out, and that would be really awesome, but I can't do that. But he can sing, and really well. And he's turned away and he's returned to the ball. Canary, the next question is from Lil Gnome. And they ask how old you are. Are you happy saying that on air? Undistinguishable muttering is heard. Can we repeat that? I just think I'll just let you guess. I'm either in my second or first year at UA. Let's have one more question before our next song then. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so sorry if it's wrong, but Dracano? Is that right? You asked, how would you describe Presentation Michael as a teacher? I'm not liking where this is going. Well, firstly, loud. And we've got a full circle. Secondly, I'm just deciding what a good idea to say now that he's sitting opposite me. And that's supposed to mean He's very charismatic. Moment of silence. I'm not sure how that's an insult, but I bet it is. Right. Song. We're going to go to a song before he rats out all of my teaching secrets. There was a paper airplane stuck in his hair for our entire lesson the other day. He didn't even notice. Cue the music! President Mike was smiling because Midoriya was smiling. It was infectious. See? Yamada began. What did I tell you? Everyone loves you! Midoriya took off his headphones, still smiling broadly as he glanced at the remaining questions on the screen. And there were a lot of them. I didn't tell you earlier because I didn't want to freak you out more than you were already, he continued. That got Midoriya's attention, making him look up in surprise, his smile quickly fading. Don't worry, it's a good thing. We've got a very high listener count today. I'm talking way more than was on last Tuesday, and they're here because they want to hear you, and judging by the fact that the number isn't going down, but instead steadily increasing, I would say you're giving them exactly what they want. The smile crept back across his face. Thank you. For what? For giving me a chance and being so nice to me even before I had a quirk. I never had a teacher who put this much effort into helping me, he admitted, twisting back and forth in his chair, avoiding Yamada's gaze. He didn't say anything for a moment, processing Midoriya's words. He hadn't really put much thought into Midoriya's past before, but then it clicked. He was mute because he was quirkless. People saw the small quirkless boy and wrote him off before he had a chance to show him so much than his condition. He was smart, kind, and funny, had a big brain and even bigger heart, if that were possible, but despite all that, no one had really cared before. And so the kid must have felt silence, slipped into the shadows unnoticed. Perhaps it was even worse than that. He could have done it on purpose, as a way of avoiding the attention. Maybe it wasn't just dance lessons that made him excellent at evading dodgeballs. Midoriya wasn't the first kid he'd brought in him onto the radio. There had been a few in the past who needed a little confidence boost. Several refused the offer, but the ones who took it up were rather thankful for it. Despite all that, though, no one had been quite so popular with the radio's audience than Canary. Azura was right. It wasn't just his personality people liked this. People liked the story. They were eager to see what he would become. President Mike felt the same, but he couldn't help but think about what could have happened. He had not gone and spoken to Midoriya that day in the sports hall. Had Midoriya never even discovered his quirk, what would have happened to him? What would his future have looked like? President Mike, sir? I might have blinked. Sorry there, co-host. Got lost in my own world for a second. He smiled fondly. Screw him. He was very guilty of favoritism. Then again, one could say he just wanted to give Midoriya as good as a shot of life as everyone else had, or maybe a little beyond that. Hey, plus ultra. You're a really good kid, Canary. Awesome quirk or no. You're going to make an amazing hero. Midoriya's smile wobbled a little. Thanks, Cockatoo. Oh, I'm Cockatoo again, am I? He rubbed his eyes, laughing and nodding. Well then, I accept my fate. And welcome back! Yay. President Mike stifles his laughter. What is with this? Yay. Anyway, I thought we'd shake things up a bit. Oh no. Oh yes. Here's the deal, listeners. You're going to pick up your phones and call us in. One of my lovely friends in the control room. That makes it sound like we're in a rocket launch. Oh well, who knows with your quirk? Yeah, true. We're just going to leave that here and confuse all of you. You'll find out what his quirk is really at the sports festival. I'm terrified. You'll be fine. Well, everyone knows my quirk has to do with singing, so that doesn't quite work for some reason. I could be standing in the middle of the arena singing and my quirk doesn't activate. I'll just look like an idiot. Don't be so pessimistic. I would say that was me being optimistic, though to assume I even make it to the tournament round. Okay, we're going to the caller before Canary digs himself into a pessimistic pit. A what? Okay, the number to call is 555000. Author's note, that is not a real number, or I don't think it is, but don't call it. For the life of God, don't call it. That was very fast. You say it then. 5550 100. A brief moment of silence follows. What? Cue the ringtone! The ringtone dial is heard. But wait, if they're calling us, why is there a ringtone? Don't question my logic. Hello? Yeah, you little listener, you've made it all the way to Put Your Hands Up Radio. Oh yay, oh my goodness, so cool. Say hi, Canary. Hi? A faint squeal is heard. Hi, I'm Cooney. Nice to meet you, Cooney. Where are you in this exact moment? Oh, I'm on the train going to my friend's house. That explains the rumbling noise. Anyways, do you have a question for us, Cooney? Oh, sure. Hi again, Canary. Hi. I was wondering, if you're aiming to be a hero, what kind of hero do you want to be in particular? Ooh, that's a good question. Thank you. So, like, underground or rescue? I mean, I'm aiming for rescue myself, and I totally wouldn't mind having a sweet little burb like you as a coworker. Aw, what do you say, burb? Well, I don't really know. I guess it depends on how I use my quirk. I'm not sure underground work too out well. I think I might be difficult sneaking up on someone whilst singing. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Bearing in mind, I'm not actually on the hero course yet. Yeah. Anyways, a big thank you to Cooney for phoning in. Oh my gosh, seriously, thank you so much for having me. You have a song suggestion for us while we're here? Rocketman by Elton John. That was because of earlier, wasn't it? Yep. And before I go, I'm sure you'll do really well in the sports festival. I'll be rooting for you. Thank you. Bye-bye, Cooney. Bye. Goodbye. But before we play that wonderful suggestion, we have another number to read out. Oh yeah. Our Hero Hotline is a wonderful number that you can call if you need help. Of course, the real emergency number is obviously the priority. But if your problem is a bit more delicate situation, ring us up and we'll help you out the best way we can. Even if it's not an immediate emergency or you're having some tricky mental health dilemmas, we'll do the best we can to give you the support you need. And Canary is here with the number. It's 5550119. Did you just say that from memory? Maybe. That was 550-555-0119. And with that, to the rocket ship. Quick reader's note. Again, don't call that number. I don't think it's a real number, but don't call it anyways. Before long, the radio show had come to an end, and with the final song put on for all to hear, Maria took off his headphones and wandered out of the studio and collapsed on his newly claimed armchair in a heap. President Mike laughed as he exited after him, turning off the lights inside the studio as he went. This was President Mike's private place after his shows were over for the night. His other co-workers on the floor below them would take over for the late-night broadcast. President Mike was a hero, a radio presenter, and a teacher. He knew how to manage his time to ensure that everything got done, but consequently some things were sacrificed. One of those not being not hosting Put Your Hands Up Radio 24/7. Someone's a little tired, as Nora laughed. She was doing paperwork in one of the sofas near Midoriya, whilst Nanako continued to manage the logistics of the end of the show, luckily passing the controls over to the new station. It's just been a long time since I've done so much talking, Midoriya admitted, feeling his throat gingerly. It hadn't been so bad the Tuesday before, but this radio show business was really starting to get his poorly used voice box. Then I have just the thing for you, President Mike cried. He disappeared as Midoriya cautiously removed his hands from his ear once more, only for him to return moments later at an equally high volume. Here you go, Canary! He'd thrown a small bag into Midoriya's lap. Frowning, Midoriya carefully undid the drawstring and looked inside. Throat lozenges. Not just any throat lozenges. Ones that actually taste nice. Azura pulled a mockingly shocked face. Honestly, though, they are amazing. They work super well. Azura, why are you here? Midoriya questioned as he unraveled one of the lozenges. I thought you had your own office. Yeah, but you're here, and I wanted to see you. Midoriya couldn't suppress his smile as he put the lozenges in his mouth. President Mike was right. They actually did taste nice. You can keep that bag if you want, he offered. I have many. For medical uses only, not just because you eat them like sweets, Nanako insisted, as he finished up his work. Yes, of course, President Mike nodded, waving off the comment. Midoriya smiled as he packed his various things away, checking his pockets for the orange keycard. Thank you all for everything, he said, for the 100th time as he almost skipped towards the elevator. Bye-bye, Canary, Azora called out as the elevator doors closed. And if they say thank you one more time, I swear we'll... She didn't get to finish that sentence as Midoriya's mind was left to comedically finish it as he wandered home. He left via the front door as no one seemed to be outside to see him, and practically ran all the way to the train station, eager to get home to his mother cooking. She had promised katsudon. That was the end. Don't call the numbers, by the way. Don't call the numbers. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and see you later, hopefully with a new surprise.